the most easy way to teach people how to start a YouTube channel is really consistency and studying your audience and what content that they watch, and then leveraging popular content for that industry and for that type of content, and either doing the reaction videos, the commentary, or you can do parodies or cover songs, whatever it is. But that's a really great way for you to get views, but also the number one way to do it is collaboration.
Welcome to today's VidTao Podcast episode. This is VidTao Co-Founder Ian Nagy, and today we're going to be talking with Mr. Mitchel Dumlao. Mitchel has an amazing story. He got started as a content producer about 15 years ago. Back when YouTube was just starting out, Mitchel had one of the first most successful breakdance channels, actually. And from that, he got into the YouTube campus down in Los Angeles, the creator campus, and was there learning a ton of stuff over the course of the next 10 years. And in the process, massively up-leveled his production capacity to the point where he's worked with companies like Google, Colgate, Spotify, Amazon, Champion, Netflix, just a ton of amazing companies. Mitchel's made ads for them and just has an amazing story about how he became a great creator and how he's applied these skills and his philosophy on making amazing videos that drive performance. So I think you're going to love this story because it combines the importance of organic content and performance as well. So can't wait to share Mitchel's philosophy and learnings with you. I think you're going to get a ton of value out of it. So without further ado, let's get into the show. This podcast is brought to you by VidTao.com. VidTao is our free YouTube ad library and spy tool, research tool. It's VidTao.com. At VidTao, we have close to 1 million unlisted YouTube video ads that you can search, find, discover how they're doing on a day-by-day basis. So you can really see what ads your competitors are running, see ads in different markets that you can model to create new winning ads for yourself, and a whole lot more. It's all there inside VidTao.com. Plus, we have a premium edition. So the database is free to access, but then we also have a premium edition where you have full unlimited access to the database. And inside there, we also provide training. So we also run an agency called Inceptly. That's INCEPTLY, Inceptly.com, where we've managed over $150 million on YouTube. It's a video traffic agency, and we've worked with everyone from brands like Descript.com, Huel, to real scrappy direct response, info products, supplements, health, beauty, e-commerce, you name it, we've done it, and love sharing what we've learned. Every week we drop new training in there, everything from YouTube ad media buying to running e-commerce creatives on YouTube, to hardcore tracking and attribution tutorials to really level up your data science game for advertising, and everything in between. Right now, as we speak, we're working on a training regarding YouTube Shorts. Hopefully we'll be live by the time you hear this. On and on and on. This is our passion, is video advertising, and we want to share it with you inside of VidTao Premium. And actually right now, for a limited time, you can get access to VidTao Premium for a very special price. So if you go to VidTao.com, sign up for free, check out the database, upgrade to Premium for this very special price, you'll get access to all of the database and all the trainings. And also wanted to add that at Inceptly, we do free brainstorm calls with clients like you. So if you ever want to get help or ask questions about your YouTube ads, your video traffic on other platforms, we're available to chat. Just go to inceptly.com/call, CALL, and set up a time to chat. It's free, and we'd love to speak with you. Our team's waiting to speak with you. So without further ado, let's get into the show. Well, welcome, Mitchel. For those folks who can't see, Mitchel has turntables in the background. He's mixing it up between shooting you're shooting some commercials for Amazon right now, right?
Yeah. So I have a production company called Creative Haven. I'm also a senior producer at Riot Maker TV, and we are producing a couple commercials for Amazon Ring, or Ring for all the folks out there who have seen the doorbell with the camera and the audio and microphone. So it's just been a hectic couple of months actually, just learning more about the commercial system and industry and workflow.
That's crazy. And I mean, let's just take it way back. So you got the
Yeah, let's
turntables
go
in the
back.
background. We were talking about turntables. I know
Mm-hmm.
from chatting with you before, the turntables were oriented with kind of an initial push into YouTube content, early adopter,
Right.
early creator, leading to everything that you're into now. I'd love to just walk us through. So how did you end up at the turntables, first of all?
Oh, of course. So when I was young, I had an identity crisis like we all did in high school or junior high. And I was trying to figure out what was my passion, what was I drawn to? And I was first into punk rock music, ska music, and rock. And then I discovered hip hop. And that's when I was at a party and I saw a DJ who was controlling the crowd, having the best time, surrounded by girls. And I was a kid who was looking for something to do that would make me look cool so that I could stand out and get attention. So I thought, okay, I want to be a DJ. I want to be like that person. One of the main influences to me was DJ Kubert because he's Filipino. I'm Filipino. And I felt that it was a great role model for being a creative, just someone that looks like me and also was very popular and successful. So since then, I've just been a musician slash producer, someone that loves remixing as well as DJing. And that ultimately helped me with my film career, just because I think creativity can transcend mediums. I think my music helps my filming, and then my filming helps my music. And so I always got into, I loved movies ever since I was a young kid. My family used to rent VHS tapes when I was young, and we used to watch movies as a kid, as a family. So I always equated watching movies with family and community. And so I loved how it brought people together. And so I've always had a fascination with films as a young person. And so as I grew older, I just would take my mom and dad's camcorder and just make small, funny action flicks and stupid music videos. And then from there, it turned into my major in college. I was a film major in UC Santa Barbara, and
Nice.
I spent 4 years just learning about traditional film and cinema and film theory, and really thought that the pathway towards being a director was just go to Hollywood with your reel from college and they'll hire you on a really big film. So I took my reel from college, which was trash. As I look back at it, it was so embarrassing. I can't believe I was pitching that around. And I was going around different studios and trying to pitch myself as a feature director, and that totally failed. So I ended up getting a job as a development executive and an assistant first, and then a development executive at a production company. Before that, I was an intern at Miramax, also Weinstein Company.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
so very traditional film trajectory for the folks who live in Southern California, Los Angeles, and Hollywood. And so I went from an assistant to a development executive, then I became a literary manager, and I represent 40 writers and directors in animation, feature films, comic books, and TV. And so my job was to pitch my clients to TV shows to get them staffed on shows, pitching projects to production companies and studios to get them financed, and just schmoozing around Hollywood like the entourage life. And I thought I was living the lifestyle that I wanted. And after a while, got super stressed out, burned out, and it was a very toxic environment that I knew I had to get out of or just change. And so I felt very stifled in my creativity. And I said, you know what, maybe I need to start filming again. So I bought a camera. Actually, before that, I started working with my friends on an idea for a YouTube channel. They approached me and said, hey, we have this idea of creating a breakdancing event and we want you to film it.
Wow.
And I met my friend he was an intern of mine at a production company. And he saw me watching breakdancing videos. And he said, hey, you break? And I said, yeah, I break. And so we started training together at UCLA. That's when I met his friend, and they became my biz partners for our first YouTube channel, because they said, hey, can you film our event? And I said, you know what, I can't, but I know someone who can. And I feel like we should actually just turn this into an ESPN for b-boys or breakdancers,
Nice.
so that breakers or dancers could get the same recognition and sponsorships as skateboarding. Because back then, skating, you had the X Games, and it all really came down to these videos that people used to watch, VHS to YouTube to social media. And so we created a YouTube channel, and we were just filming breakdancing events and dance events, and it just grew into the ESPN for breaking and the dance community. And it grew to a point where I noticed that we were making a lot more money from our AdSense on YouTube than my full-time job. Wow. And I just saw the future in YouTube and said, all right, it's time for me to quit, start my own company. And then that's where I am now. I mean, there's a whole other lot of stories between then and now, but that's kind of the genesis of my story.
That's amazing. That's so amazing. And what year was that when you decided to make that B-Boy channel?
That was back in 2008. So this is
old school. That is going way back.
So this is when YouTube didn't even have channels. Like it wasn't even like a branded channel with a banner and a channel trailer. What you actually had back then was just a page of videos, and there wasn't even an AdSense capability. So we had to apply to be a brand network partner, and you had to apply, you had to have like a minimum amount of subscribers, and you would apply, and then they would open it up to a few select YouTube channels so that they could make money off of AdSense.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So for some context, YouTube was launched in 2005. And then it was bought almost to the end of 2006. So basically, like you started a channel essentially a year and a half after Google bought YouTube. This is insane.
Yeah.
Super early days. So, I mean,
I feel old.
Well, it's crazy. You're a pioneer. And did you even know anyone who had a YouTube channel back then? Was that even novel? Just the idea that you and your friends were going to make a breakdancing YouTube channel?
It's crazy to think about this, but back then it wasn't the idea of making a career or a channel or a brand. So you got to understand, back then it was like the Wild West of content. There was no Instagram, there was no TikTok, of course, but it was just, there was a platform where you could upload videos. And so in our mind, it was just, hey, we just love breakdancing. We love this culture. We're just going to post videos. And so it was the idea of, we're going to make the money and the impact outside of YouTube. This is just a means to an end. And then it became the opposite. And what was very interesting back then was that with YouTube, there was only cat videos. And so I don't know if that's like the huge stigma that YouTube really wanted to erase, was the idea that YouTube is just a cat video platform. But I discovered YouTube when I was working at a production company, and my boss said, hey, check this out, look at this. And he showed me this video, and it was this animated hippo dancing. I know this sounds really dumb, but it was an animated hippo dancing. And he was like freaking out, like, this is crazy. This is a platform that this person just added it online, and we could all watch it. And I said, yeah, it's cool, whatever. Then it started to grow. And then once we started seeing that you could just create your own channel, I guess I'm an early adopter, because I just saw the potential, and I said, okay, look, let's just have a place to upload videos, and then find a way for us to use these videos to get sponsorships. It wasn't even about growing an audience so that you can get AdSense, like I said before. It was just a place to show our reel.
That's crazy. That's great. So AdSense was already integrated at that point. So you're making money from ads showing on your videos, right? And then I remember when you and I talked earlier a few weeks ago, you were talking about how you really started to band together with other content creators and make these sort of groups, how then you would go to brands and pitch them on integrating their content onto your channels. Maybe I'm misrepresenting it, something like that. Like,
Yeah.
what was that all about? Like, that sounded super interesting.
Yeah. So I love this conversation because I was part of like this very unique time of YouTube where it was the influencer uh, like generation, because there was no one knew what an influencer was back then, and the idea of an influencer was kind of foreign to people. We were using Social Blue Book, I think, when we were trying to give our rates to brands. And so what happened was, during this time there was this thing called a multi-channel network. It's called an MCN. And so the one of the first MCNs out there was Maker. It was Maker Studios, and there was Full Screen Network, and then there was also Broadband. And so during this time, a lot of YouTube channels started to really explode. This was back when like Freddie Wong, right, was like getting big, and it was just these different types of channels, like Miranda Sings, all right, or like, this is so old school, but this is when companies or corporations realized, oh, what we can do is take all these channels that have a lot of subscribers and then create these pools of creators that we can then pitch to brands. So it was a business model that made sense back then, where you would take a group of sports athletes or influencers and YouTube channels who had 50,000, 100,000, a million subscribers, and say, hey, look, I'm going to sell this to Nike, and say, hey, Nike, we have this pool of, or this network of YouTubers who are in the sports industry, and their audiences are perfect for you. How much would you like to pay them for a collaboration? And so I was part of a dance network, but at the same time, yeah, that's right. During that time, I was also part of Dance On. This is crazy, just thinking about it. So the whole idea of a multi-channel network was really new during that time, and a lot of creators signed up, like myself and my team. And what we saw was that YouTube took 40% of your AdSense, and then the multi-channel network took, I think it was around 10 to 20%. Trying to figure out my contract. And so a lot of creators, after 2 or 3 years, realized, wow, they're not making any money. So a lot of the brands that were going to these multi-channel networks, they started going directly to the creator. And so the whole multi-channel network business model kind of, I would say, disbanded and fell apart 5 years later, or within 5 or maybe even 4 years. I mean, if you look at Full Screen Network or Maker Studios online, you can see they're different now. But yeah, I was part of this whole movement towards influencers banding together or being represented from a bigger company, and that company selling to brands, hey, we have this group of influencers. And so yeah, I would be exclusive to Full Screen. So they're the ones who took all the money from any brand deal. And so it reminded me of an agency. The irony is I was a manager. So when I was a manager, I understood the idea. If I sold something, or I got you a gig, or I got you a project, then I take a commission from that. I signed a contract that anything in the future that you create and somebody pays for, I get a part of that. Happened to me being part of this MCN. But I loved it. The whole experience was great, just because it was this huge push towards how do we create this community of YouTubers that work together to get brand sponsorships. And that's when I started. That's during the time also when the YouTube space LA or Los Angeles opened up. And that to me was one of the biggest influences to my career, because it was like the film school and the co-working space for YouTubers and creators in LA.
Wow. So what was that like? Where was it in LA back then?
Yeah, I was in Playa Vista in one of the Howard Hughes plane hangars. And so they took this plane hangar. It's beautiful. Have you been to the YouTube space?
I never been there, but I want to check it out. That's awesome.
It's incredible. Yeah, go down to Playa Vista in LA. And so there was this huge studio, and then imagine 5 sound stages. Actually, there's more. It was one sound stage and 2 sound stages in the front, one huge one in the back, another medium-sized one in the middle, and then 3 studios that were cyc walls or infinity white walls and green screen walls. And so there were like 8 places for you to film. And there
Wow.
was conference rooms too. So you can have meetings with your creative team, or you can film in a conference room. And then you can also film around the space. And the idea is that if you had at least 10,000 subscribers, you can sign up as a creator at the YouTube Space LA. And then you would go online and you can book a spot in one of the sound stages or in the studios, and you can rent any camera equipment for free.
Wow.
And so this is where I learned how to shoot with the Red camera, how to
Wow.
shoot with the Phantom camera, which is the super slow-mo camera, learn about lighting. And this is because this is when YouTube Red was kind of starting, and they were giving $1 million to channels to create content because they saw this whole movement towards influencers. And so this YouTube Space LA was supposed to help a lot of creators become much more higher quality creators with high production value content. And it was during a time where YouTube was trying to become like Netflix, because they weren't getting the higher sponsorships, the bigger sponsorships during that time, because a lot of the creators had crappy cameras. Okay, we had maybe like Canon 5Ds, maybe T3Is, and this was a way for them to actually train us. And so they had training days. I love this, because they would say, hey, look, this week we're going to teach you about color. Next week we're going to teach you about sound. After that, we're going to teach you about director for being a cinematographer. We're going to also have a networking party. We're going to have like Will.i.am, perform. We have Katy Perry doing the launch party. It was insane. It was one of the best times as a creator in LA.
That's insane. Like that kind of hands-on trade school for just learning the ins and outs, becoming a utility player that can handle all these different elements of production. That's insane. And that was free, given that you had that following. You could participate.
Yeah, it was free.
That's
it was free.
insane. It's brilliant.
And what's crazy is during that time, I was also asked by my friend's companies, Creator Up, and they work with YouTube to create these educational programs. And I was a teacher for those. And so one of the programs was the Next Up program. And so Next Up was helping creators with 10,000 to 100 or 50,000 subscribers level up and get more than 1 million subscribers. And so many of the people of that program, like Lavadere or Suraj, or anyways, a lot of people that who were in that program are like millions of subscribers now. Wow. And I want to say it worked, but it truly influenced a lot of the content and how they approach YouTube. And so, I did a lot of teaching, speaking on panels, talking to brands. So again, this was during the time when brands didn't know what to do with YouTube and what to do with creators. And so I had to teach brands and speak to rooms full of executives, ad account managers, and tell them, okay, this is how you work with a creator. We prefer that you treat us with respect and you give us a creative brief, and then we have a guideline and a list of things that we need to capture and blah, blah, blah. And it was a very fun and informative time for me, because I saw it from the brand's point of view. Okay, these are what brands are looking for in creators. And then it's just funny to think about it, but like I had to teach a room full of Jack-in-a-Box executives how to work with a creator and also how to run YouTube ads.
Wow, that's crazy. So you're like every aspect you're touching there, right? The the ideation, the production, and the distribution, and then also like connecting the money to the project. You're talking to the that's insane on that kind of level. And I mean, when you look at your sort of the brands who you've been working with, I saw you did a commercial for Zapier just super recently. And you're doing something with Amazon right now. And then, I saw you did some stuff with Colgate recently. You got this ability to sort of communicate the value of what creators bring, what you bring as artists, and communicate like the sort of commercial value to these people who have these huge corporations as well. So that's wild, man. So that sounds like YouTube Studios was where it kind of all came together. That's amazing. So how long did that phase last at YouTube Studios? How long were you in the action there for?
Yeah, I mean, they had to close shop 2020 and
Wow.
during COVID. And so
10
during that
years.
time,
So 10
yeah,
years. You've been,
yeah.
wow, that's insane.
And
That's,
it's crazy to think about it because during that time, I took what I learned from YouTube and I just applied it to my production company.
mhm,
And I think it's because during the whole shift between TV to digital, I think we take it for granted now that we could watch YouTube on our TVs that's right next to HBO and
mhm,
also Amazon Prime and Netflix.
mhm,
So people are actually watching YouTube content over Netflix sometimes. I'm actually talking to my dad and my parents about it, and it's become a ubiquitous thing for you to watch YouTube.
yeah.
Back then, no one believed in YouTube. I
Mhm,
quit my job, and my friends thought I was crazy. They said, "You're leaving a cush job, you're leaving like a great industry to go to YouTube to like make YouTube content.
yeah.
Like you're dumb." And
Yeah.
so now a lot of people will approach me and say, "Hey, how do I start a YouTube channel?" I'm like, "Oh,
Mhm,
it's really simple, y'all." And I think that the the time that I had during on my channel where I am now, or 2020, it shifted from creating content on my channel and having brands, sponsor me to
mhm,
create content for my audience to just making content for brands
mhm,
because it was very targeted towards a certain community, which is the
mhm,
b-boy and dance community.
mhm,
And I started as a filmmaker.
mhm,
My whole passion was to make content and films, and I think that a lot of creators will relate to this, but there's a time in your life, especially as a content creator, where you have to decide whether you're making content for yourself or you're making content for other people. And other
mhm,
people can be your audience, and it could also be a brand
mhm.
or a company you work for. And so there's an existential crisis that creators face when they get really big because they're getting all this money and they're getting all this recognition from their audience. And they realize, oh, I'm making content just so I can get views rather than making content that makes me happy.
Mhm.
But what's great now, and I'm seeing it, is that people make content for their business. I just had a meeting before this with a real estate broker who wanted to, just pick my brain about YouTube. And she was saying, yeah, a lot of realtors now are taking YouTube classes, and we have to create a YouTube channel in order for us to increase our sales and our marketing and make sure that we sell these homes. And it's
Mhm.
just insane
Mhm.
to me to think about YouTube as part of a realtor's or a broker's plan for getting sales. But yeah, during that whole time frame, it was just me going from becoming a YouTube to becoming an executive producer. And so now it's like, okay, I started working with Spotify and Sony, and now with Ring, and then now with also Zapier. And then more and more, I realized that YouTube was a great MBA and also a Master of Film program
Mhm.
for me. And
Mhm.
the YouTube Space LA was my campus.
Wow. And you spent, that's equivalent of, you got like a PhD and all that, spending 10 years there. You're like, you're TAing too, you're teaching classes, you're
Yeah.
sharing what you learned, you're just deeply internalizing it all while you're also making a lot of content. And that's just what a crazy confluence of opportunity there. That's wild. So what would you say? So you've done, like you said, all these big brands, and you got people asking you on, like the broker, for instance, all over the place, people asking you, what works on YouTube. What would you say? What are the biggest mistakes you see other creators, other people making content for YouTube, whether it's paid or organic? What are some of the biggest mistakes you see people making that you learn to avoid from all your background?
Yeah, I think the biggest mistakes is they don't really know their audience or their target audience. So they're just creating content that they see as trending or
Mm-hmm.
trendy, but they don't know their audience and what their audience wants to watch. And so people who are, doing vlogs, but they're I don't know, uh a a a, a cook, and they should just be making, recipe videos, or there are people who are, doing outfits of the day when they're a real estate broker, like things that people do that really, are detrimental to their channel is not really studying their audience. And I also fall with that too, but this is something that I do with a lot of my clients is I tell them, hey, look, who's your target audience? What are the type of content that they watch? What are the channels that they watch? And then what is the pieces of content that's going to be aligned with you? Do you want to be doing trendy dances on TikTok? Is that what you're trying to do so you can get views if a lawyer, or if you are someone who's giving, advice on business? You can't just keep doing the trending things. Now, there's also ways that you could piggyback on trending videos and topics to become the next recommended video so that you can have those automatic views from an automatic playlist. And I think that people who create YouTube channels really need to do that research. And I think that the other thing that people need to focus on is consistency. It really is just a consistency. I think the idea of just one and done, trying to do one video and hoping it goes viral and then not posting for a couple months and then posting one more time or doing it on a Sunday morning at 3 a.m. and then the next 2 weeks doing it a Friday afternoon. The consistency is really what's going to keep it from organically growing. I think that comes down to the dedication behind content and the content strategy. And so what we used to teach, at YouTube, Hero Hub Help content, what's your hub content? What's your content that you post every single week consistently that you're known for? What's your hero content? What's the content that's like for milestone or tentpole events or one-offs that are like, high production value or just videos that can be not always on a schedule. And then you have your help content. Your help content is, helping your audience and your help content can be your hub content. And so that's what I've always remembered as like kind of like the most easy way to teach people how to start a YouTube channel is really consistency and studying your audience and what content that they watch, and then leveraging popular content for that industry and for that type of content, and either doing either reaction videos and commentary, or you can do parodies or cover songs, whatever it is. But that's a really great way for you to get views. But also the number one way to do it is collaboration. I mean, collabing has always been the best way to kind of super boost a channel. I mean, you've just seen people who by just association alone can get hundreds of thousands of subscribers just from knowing a YouTube channel or a celebrity. And then nowadays it's like supplementing that with paid ads. And so it's kind of like this huge, it's kind of a mix of things now to really stand out from the crowd.
So what would you say? You mentioned research quite a few times as being super important. So what would you say to a company or to an individual who's has no idea what they're doing with research? Like where does somebody start? How would you recommend going about that?
Well, of course, Ian, you would have to go to VidTao because that's where I go. No, it's true. I go to your platform to actually study different ads from different types of influencers and companies and people within certain industries. And it's been a very useful platform. So thanks for creating that. And it's a great resource for anyone out there. And I also use Facebook ad library just for ideas.
Nice.
And at the same time, there's BuzzSumo. I've also used just Google keyword search, keyword planner, keywords anywhere as well. And then I forget the name of this. I was going to say this. There's this platform called Ask the Crowd or Ask.
Oh, I heard about this.
I forgot the name of it. Yeah. You type in a phrase, and then it'll show you different search queries that you can use that are popular. And then also vidIQ and TubeBuddy. You can find a lot of great hashtags and tags in there that are trending. And to be honest, there's just a good old YouTube search. Just go on YouTube and search the it's like Google and SEO, like trying to just optimize your search engine results. Okay, what are the search terms that your target audience would be typing in that you want to be discovered under, and then seeing who pops up, and then you can hack those people's channels and also their videos.
That's awesome. That's super cool. And then how would you go about, okay, how would you go about establishing your first collaboration? Well, how would you approach that process?
Yeah, I think that people try to approach the influencers with millions of subscribers and they're willing to pay hundreds or thousands of dollars to work with these folks, or try to hit them up on Instagram or through their agent or manager. But I really do feel that you should collab with people within your subscriber range. Don't overlook people with 5,000 subscribers or just 2,000 subscribers. If their engagement rate is 80%, I would rather collab with them than someone with a million subscribers whose engagement rate is 1%. So, don't be afraid of reaching out to someone who has 2,000. If you only have 100, reach out to someone who has 2,000, and they're hungry. They're hungry to collab too. And the same time as you grow, you have 1,000 subscribers, reach out to people with 5,000. To 5,000, reach out to someone with 10,000, and then repeat. And then from that point on, you're going to start creating a network of collaborators. And that's how, a lot of my friends and a lot of people that I've worked with really, created their friend groups. This whole idea of collaborating, it transcends the online space. And then of course it's different now because a lot of YouTube creators, they would usually move to Los Angeles, and so we could always just meet up and then go to the YouTube space LA or hang out at a Venice or whatnot. But it's different now because it's very remote. So I think that folks out there who really want to collab with channels so that they can get more subscribers and traffic should really focus on people within their reach. And then when you do reach out, offer a valuable collaboration or a relationship, not just, hey, let's just make a video so you can send me more subscribers. What can you offer them that would make this whole collaboration beneficial for them? Because you are doing this in a way where I think you're going to try to do this for free. So how are you going to save them time? How are you going to be beneficial for their goals? And also, how are you going to help them with their channel? And so you have to be a very, very much a servant, or someone that's willing to serve somebody else in order for you to get that traffic. And I know it sounds super transactional. You should actually have some sort of relationship with this person. I mean, coming at it as someone who's just looking to get a bunch of subscribers and not even think about the personal relationship, you're going to come off like a dick and an asshole and someone that's very selfish.
Right.
So a lot of my friends, I still have friends who are YouTubers. I love my YouTube friends. One of them's here in Austin now, and it's we're just friends. We don't even talk about YouTube together, and it's better that way.
Yeah, that's amazing. So tell me about right now. How does your background on the influencer side? How does it influence the commercials that you're making now? Because as far as I've been seeing, I just see some amazing high quality, just TV quality commercials, digital style commercials that you make. Like, do you source from influencers as well from that base? Is there any aspect of that that's currently involved in your production process?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think as I've matured as a content creator, I've really embraced delegation and also building teams and fostering talent, mentoring people. And I think the background as an influencer has given me the terminology to talk to creators and also the relatability. So if I have to get a influencer or a creator to create a video for me for a brand that's hired me to find these people, it's giving me the know-how of how to build a YouTube channel to really understand where they're coming from. And so I'm not coming in there saying, hey, I got this bunch of money, I'm going to hire you. here's their list of things you need to shoot. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, I'll ask them questions like a YouTuber, and I'll be on the other side of it, and I'll really understand where they're coming from and tell them this is really beneficial for you and your channel. You can have a income stream that will allow you to quit your job,
right,
and also create full time. And I think also me pitching to brands and working with brands, it's allowed me to up my value and increase my value to brands, because rather than just saying, hey, I'm a videographer, or hey, I'm a creator, I'm also a content strategist. Okay, I'm a digital marketer. You know, I also help with branding. I can also help with advertising. So I tell a lot of videographers out there and a lot of creators to consider themselves more than just someone behind the camera or in front of the camera. You know, you're not just someone who is creating a YouTube video. You are a content strategist. You are a writer. You are a creative executive. You are a creative director. You know, this is going to increase your value when you're in front of brands, and brands appreciate that. Because I've talked to so many brands, and what they are very frustrated with are creators or videographers or production companies also, who just create the content but have no say onto what the video should look like in order for them to get the results that they want. And so when I pitch to brands, I tell them, look, I'm a YouTuber. I had to make videos to get views so I can get subscribers. So I had to research online what would get the most views with my team, so that we can create the content to, you know, increase our subscribers. So I can work with you, brand, to look at your marketing campaign, and if you allow me to, I can give you my 2 cents to say, hey, you shouldn't be doing these type of videos for this type of target audience. Then we do the research. This type of video should be created for your brand campaign so that you can get the results that you want, whether it's more sales on a product launch, more newsletter signups, or more subscribers. And so the background as a YouTuber has helped me be able to talk to creators so I can get them hired for brands that hire me to create videos with creators. And also it allows me to pitch to brands my services and my production company from the guise of someone who's more than a creator, or someone who's more than a production company. And so it's been very helpful for me when it comes to valuing my services.
It's so, because it's so holistic. You got everything's incorporated in there. And I imagine from a brand standpoint, it'd be pretty easy to completely fail going out, trying to do what they're hiring you to do, trying to go direct. It could end so badly, right? So I'm
for sure. I mean, I'm experiencing it right now with, you know, this big client Ring, and I'm talking with, I have to manage like a studio, right? A whole VFX studio, as well as you know, editors, offline editors, online editors, colorists, sound mixers, and getting all these people together, creatives together as a team, and then being able to take a client's notes and then relay that to the team so they're not offended, and then vice versa, you know, sending notes back to the client so that they don't feel like their project is being run by a bunch of creative divas. And so I just got a really great, you know, I've gotten so many great compliments from like bigger corporations and brands that, Mitchel, like, you're a joy to work with because you understand the process. And then also creators, the people on my team who say to me, Mitchel, we love working with you because you speak our language. And at the same time, like, if we had to, I would strip off the executive producer hat and then go on a editing you know, computer and start editing. I'll go on After Effects. I'll go on Premiere. I'll pick up a camera. You know, I'll get it done. And I think that's what I've learned from working with, you know, a friend of mine who's, you know, introduced me to this whole world of broadcast commercials, and he's brought me onto these projects from Ring, and he just showed me, he started off creating commercials, editing them in the office of Ring when they were just first starting out. And he was the one who was doing all the broadcast commercials on Premiere on a laptop. And that gave me a lot of respect for him, because I said, okay, you know how it is to work 16-hour days and how to create these videos using this software, which is Premiere. And it gives me more respect. And it's the same thing for me when I talk to these editors. And when I talk to YouTube creators, they'll say, oh, okay, I respect you because you actually know YouTube and you know how to shoot a camera.
Right. No, that's huge. And then how did you, in the same way, where you came from that background of being a creator, and then how did you learn the language of the corporate side? Like, how was that process?
Yeah, I love this question because I'm actually going to create a course on this.
Nice.
And I'm not trying to like plug it in here.
No, please plug it. Yeah, plug it. Where can we find it?
It happened. Yeah, videocontentschool.com.
Nice.
My goal, honestly, is to really help creators navigate the corporate space and also the brand space so that they can create an income stream for their creativity so they can live a full-time creative life. That's what we want to do, right?
Yeah.
Full-time, do what we love to do. And so the whole idea of working with brands and corporate speak that came from my experience as a literary manager or an executive working in the Hollywood industry. So when I was in the Hollywood industry, my job was to take someone's script and then cold call. Okay, this is crazy to think about. In sales, like I was doing sales, I would have to cold call Warner Brothers or Paramount or Disney and say, hey, you don't know who I am. You don't know who my client is. But here is an idea that you should buy. And if you can, for the next 30 seconds, stay on the phone with me so that hopefully I can get a meeting with you.
Wow.
And that whole experience, I had to learn corporate speak, but I also had to learn how to talk to someone genuinely as a person. Because if you come off as a robot, then you come off as someone that looks like they're trying to get something from you. If you come off too formulaic or too scripted, you're going to sound like someone who is reading from a script like a telemarketer. So I learned quickly, having a script, but also having those relatable conversations is a really great way to talk to corporate. And so talking to brands, and what I'm going to be teaching in my course is, first off, knowing your social skills. What are some soft skills you got to learn? And of course, there's the whole idea of knowing the person's name and remembering it and repeating it within the process in the conversation. It's super simple, but that alone will make you seem like you're paying attention. Next thing is just repeating what they're saying, so that they understand that you are taking in what they're talking about in the conversation and you're taking note of it. And it helps you also remember. And then another thing too is just understanding the brand before you get on the phone call. So there are times where I would do full days of research before I talk to a brand. When I first talked to Colgate, I went through iSpot TV, I went through Google searches and articles and everything, just so that I could get on a phone call and recall past spots, quarterly earnings, right? Past campaigns. Yeah. Because you have to really understand what their needs are and kind of expect to have that conversation with them. So when it comes up, you have something to say. And so for a creator out there that's talking to a big brand or even a company for the first time, research the company, know what they've done on YouTube and what they've done on Instagram and Twitter. If they haven't posted any videos, that's a great talking point. Hey, you don't have any videos. I think you really do need me as a creator to either come up with this one video or even your video content plan. Let me help you with that. And then at the same time, if they've done a lot of videos, you can either critique or compliment. And on the conversation, like, hey, you have a great Instagram channel. I love that post you did last week. Great video. Here's what I loved about it. I do feel you can improve by doing this, and that, because I know your target audience is this. And so what I can do to help you get those goals is that I can do this. And so I think that more and more as I, study entrepreneurship and sales and whatnot, the whole idea of like truly knowing what your customer wants, needs, and what their goals are, and then telling them what your capabilities are and your services are to help them reach those goals, it's actually going to be a much more productive conversation than a this is what I do. Here are all my
Mm-hmm.
accolades.
Mm-hmm.
This is why you should hire me.
Mm-hmm.
Now tell me why I should work for you.
That's
It really
wild.
is just what's your goals, what's your needs, and how can my services and my talent help you reach those goals?
So let me get this straight. So you would spend like a day researching someone like Colgate, and then you would cold call them, not know if they're going to pick up. So you did all that preparation just for that cold call. They might not pick up. You might have to call back, 10 times, find these other numbers. That's insane commitment right there. You must have really believed that you're going to make that connection and close that deal.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest. Colgate was great because they actually approached me, which
Okay.
was good. Yeah. So they approached me and they're like, "Hey,
Yeah.
we like your channel, and then we want to work with you."
Yeah.
But I've done that exactly what you're talking about. The
Yeah.
whole idea of like I've had to do that with I've done that with Nike because I was like, I
Wow.
really want to work with Nike,
Yeah.
and I still have. I read Shoe Dog from
Yeah.
Phil
Yeah.
Knight. Great book, amazing book. I've just seen so many of their commercials. I continue to see their commercials, and it also comes down to the outreach. I
Mm-hmm.
do my cold email campaigns. I'm very much on LinkedIn. I
Mm-hmm.
have a
Yeah,
whole
your
system in
LinkedIn's
place with
solid. Your LinkedIn is
oh,
solid.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like I said, it's the evolution of
Mm-hmm.
being from a creator into an entrepreneur and then a business
Mm-hmm.
owner and then becoming a leader. And then
Mm-hmm.
now it's also how to talk to corporations and brands in a way where they trust me with
Mm-hmm.
their content and their campaigns, and learning how to do all of this and doing research really came down to, again, my times as cold calling studios. I had
Mm-hmm.
to learn what studios were buying. So I'd have
Mm-hmm.
to read the newspaper or the trades or read blogs or announcements or newsletters. Okay, Warner Brothers Studios just bought a horror movie.
Yeah.
Then I would tell my friends, okay, I'm slanging entertainment, or I am a dealer for entertainment. So if you want a
Mm-hmm.
horror movie, I've got a horror movie. If you've got a action movie, you want an action movie, I've got an action movie. And so that really transferred over to outreach and cold outreach for brands. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. All right, I saw that they just hired this influencer for this campaign and they like this type of content. So let me contact them through LinkedIn or Instagram or through cold email, have a personalized line and have
Mm-hmm.
my pitch after that. And at the same time, if I'm out at a meeting or a trade show and I meet a marketing executive, tell them the same thing. Hey, I saw your YouTube channel and you have these great videos. Saw you just did this campaign with so and so. Love that. Here's how I feel you can improve. Tell me more about your goals this year, and then I'll tell you more about what I do and how I can help you reach those goals. And that's just it's so ingrained in my mind now that
Yeah.
it's just the part of the process.
I love that. That's like a master lesson right there in just closing deals, making connections, and cold outreach in general. That's fantastic. So Mitchell, I know you're a busy dude. I wanted to ask, what else? Last question. What else do people know about you that we haven't already talked about?
A DJ. I think that
That's right. That's right.
yeah, let's go full circle. Let's
Full
full circle
circle.
back
Yeah.
to the turntables behind me. So
Yeah.
I love music. I love DJing. It's a art form that has always been a passion of mine. I was a professional DJ in LA, Los Angeles. I had 3 residencies in Los Angeles,
Wow.
and that was my life. For the longest time, my life was YouTube creator, production
Mm-hmm.
company owner, videographer, and DJ. So I was just a full creative.
Yeah.
My
Across
my
the
my
board.
my income was making videos and DJing.
Yeah.
So people don't know me for that now, just because I just don't DJ out. I'm just I don't want to say just but I am an executive producer, a production company owner. I'm a brand strategist, a content strategist for brands. I think a lot of people also should know that I'm a martial artist as well. I love my
Nice.
martial arts. I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai, and I think
Nice.
that my life revolves around creativity, martial arts, and entrepreneurship.
Nice. Nice. That's strong, man. And then where can people, I mean, so first of all, everyone should check out Mitchell's stuff. It's fantastic. And the people you work with and the background you come from is I think is super unique. You've like covered all the bases there. So if you have a chance, yeah, seriously, if you have a chance to talk to Mitchel about anything related to marketing, video, creation, etc., please reach out. Mitchel, where can people talk to you?
Yeah, thank you so much, Ian. I just want to say, like, I appreciate you as well, just because the platform you created has been very helpful for myself and a lot of creators and marketers out there, and even your audience members out there. They are lucky to have you. And so for me, my website is mitcheldumlao.com. That's MITCHELDUMLAO.com. You can see all my personal stuff. Then my production company is thecreativehaven.com. TheCreativehaven.com. And that's my production company. And if you want to learn about creating videos, especially my process of developing a content strategy, filming high quality videos on a low budget, and then publishing to social media to get the most views, you can go to videocontentschool.com, VidTao videocontentschool.com, and I have courses on there. And like I said, I'm going to be posting some courses soon about how to work with brands, how to get, companies to work with you, and at the same time, how to run a production company.
Awesome, Mitchel. It's been great chatting with you. Looking forward to the next time we get to hang out in person. And thank you so much. All right. Well, thank you for joining us for this episode of VidTao Podcast. Again, my name is Ian Nagy, co-founder of VidTao, and really appreciate you having a listen. And it means a lot. So if you have any feedback, go ahead and email us at info@vidtao.com. Love to hear your ideas for future shows, future guests. If you want to be a guest, let us know. Love to chat. Also, just as a reminder, this show has been sponsored by VidTao, which is our free YouTube ad library, vidtao.com. Again, you can go to VidTao and look up over 1 million ads at this point inside of VidTao. And they're all unlisted YouTube ads. You can see what your competitors are running, track the results on a day-by-day basis, find new ads inside of our YouTube ad library, VidTao. And we also have a premium edition of VidTao. So the library is free to access, but for full unlimited access to the library, we have a premium edition of VidTao. And we also have training from our Inceptly.com agency, which is our sister company to VidTao, where we've managed over $150 million on YouTube. We provide training on media buying, creatives, tracking, copywriting, everything in between. It's all there inside of VidTao Premium. And right now we're running a very special deal on VidTao Premium. And you can go claim that right now at vidtao.com. When you sign up for free, you'll see the offer to join Premium, and go there and check that out. And last thing, we also do free brainstorm calls with our agency Inceptly. Go to inceptly.com/call. And we love brainstorming with you on your video advertising and just marketing in general. Love to chat. So inceptly.com/call, CALL. Would love to speak with you. So thanks again for joining us, and looking forward to the next show. In the meantime, have a great week.